Hey guys, Tisha here, and we are back with another Real Housewives of Potomac review. I'm not liking these episodes. I'm finding myself being a little too annoyed by people that I don't even know. The cast is so divided that the show just isn't funny. Even in moments where you feel like it's going to be fun, it's not fun. So we begin the episode with Nneka. Nneka is picking up her husband, who we find out is a traveling doctor. He's normally in 1 week, out 1 week. So they're talking about how normally this doesn't line up with her ovulation because we know they want a baby. But this time he's going to be here while she's ovulating. She gets a call from Karen inviting her to the pickleball event that's the next day. Okay, this doesn't sound believable. Everybody's saying that it's the next day, it's the next day, it's the next day. But I'd like to think that this was already on the schedule. Like they knew that this was going to happen, but we're just going to say it's the next day. She's excited, even though she has no idea what pickleball is. They both think it's going to be fun. I think they're just both excited because they're going to be included. Nneka says, you're going to get to meet your college buddy. I don't understand why we keep hearing about bits and pieces of how these people may or may not know each other. So they went to the same university. They were in the African Student Union together. And Nneka points out that at one point, her husband and Eddie were friends on Facebook, but he unfriended him. Is this really all we have to talk about? Because to me, this is yet another reach. I do believe that Eddie did unfollow him. I do believe that they were cordial towards each other. But just because you're in a group together doesn't mean that you know everyone. I went to VCU in Richmond, Virginia. And that is a large campus with minorities, but it's not a large amount of minorities, all right? We'll just say that much. Well, at least it wasn't that back then. Like, I think at the time we made up 20-something% of the campus, which that doesn't just include, African Americans. That includes all people of color. So there were a lot of people in African Student Union, some of which, myself, were not African. But we were in organizations because it was a way to meet fellow people. It was a way to connect. And even then, there were people who I may have known by face that were on my friends list. But that doesn't mean that I know them. But I still, as I said, think that Eddie deliberately went and took him off. But I just don't think it's that big of a deal. She then goes over the same conversation about what Wendy's mom supposedly said about them with the shrine and all that stuff, talking once again to everyone but Wendy about it. This is draining to me. I don't understand how old these people are. There are so many names, cousin of this person, your in-law cousin, whatever, all these different family members that have supposedly been a part of this. So I feel like it's being blown out of proportion. It's a game of telephone and it keeps being passed along and things are being added and taken away. I don't understand why she's telling everyone but Wendy. Like, even with Robin, what was the purpose of telling Robin? I'm going to say because she knew Robin would tell Giselle and that it would spread like a wildfire and other casts would find out, even though this group is already divided, that it would divide them further. We then see Giselle. Giselle and Robin are talking about the pickleball event over drinks and food and how Juan is going to go, even though he wants nothing to do with Karen. Who really cares? Giselle and Juan met up when they did some type of show in Atlanta for their podcast. And Giselle saying that Juan started yelling at her. We hear again about how, Robin doesn't feel like, he was really yelling at her and that he didn't really go off on her. He just told some of his opinions, that his voice sometimes comes across as elevated from him being a coach. How long has she known him to be a coach? Like, he really didn't coach that long. And even if so, come on now, Robin. Juan knows how to be discreet. We saw him do it in other conversations. Even with the men, he wasn't yelling. So we're not going to sit there and use that as an excuse. Robin claims to not care what other people think, that they're fine and they could just keep thinking what they think. I don't like Giselle, but I do agree that he probably did yell at her for being in their business. Then Robin, of course, even though this has nothing to do with anything, takes the time to tell Giselle about the shrine rumor. Now she knows Robin does not like her, so once again, there was no point in telling Robin this message rather than telling Wendy. This is a bunch of ignorant things that are being said about a culture by women who know nothing about it, and they have colorist tendencies, and the show chooses not to address this. So I don't like this. I don't want to hear anything else about this shrine. I don't, because it's insulting. And it bothers me that they're allowing this to actually be a storyline. Candace, even though Candace and Chris have been together, it's obvious that Candace's mother still does not really like Chris. They're in the kitchen. Candace is talking about how her dishwasher doesn't work and how she wants her mother to gift her with that. And then she changes her mind. It's like, no, just give me with the end of tour gift. It took them a while, but her mother is supporting her dream. I'm over the Candace tour thing because I don't think it's ever going to be big. And I want Candace to talk about something other than her tour. Have something else to bring to the show. Chris is over the tour too because it's very expensive and he's not feeling it. And she tells her mom that he yelled at her, but the clip that we saw, he wasn't yelling at her. He was addressing his concerns. I don't know why you would tell your mother that he's yelling at you when you know that your mother doesn't really care for him, especially when she makes comments like, does Chris even still work? We find out that Chris does work. He does consulting, he does catering, he does things of that nature, but he quit the restaurant mainly because Candace didn't like the 12-hour shifts and the crazy hours, so now he has multiple businesses. Then the mom asks about her and Robin. She says that she didn't like how Robin handled things in regards to the rumors that were being told about her husband, and that one minute she was all right, and then the next minute she was, talking junk with Giselle. We then have Karen, who is ready for her pickleball event. Her husband and her ex-assistant are there helping her get ready. We see Giselle arrive, and Karen talks about how, once again, we're not going to see Giselle really with her man because this one hasn't even made it to in her phone like the other ones were. They do some flashbacks. We see all the other ladies arrive. Giselle and Candace do not ever have a desire to speak to each other, and that's fine. They don't have to, because I feel like they're going to have to revamp the show, and even though they're not, I would love if they took Giselle off, because Giselle really doesn't do anything. Karen still wants these people who aren't getting along to be on the same team, so she said, I'm going to divide y'all up. It's my event. You're going to do what I do tell. So she basically puts everybody who's having issues with people on the prospective team. We then see Juan and Robin arrive, and they play this ominous music. I want them to stop with this whole Juan and Robin thing because it deserves no energy. If they're saying there's nothing to it and y'all just gonna let it go, then just let it go. I don't understand what Robin is wearing. I don't get the panties and the fishnets to play pickleball. Like, you did know that other husbands were going to be around. Not saying that this should be a big thing, but come on, be a little, considerate of the event space. Even though she's the last to arrive, she holds up everything because she's hugging and introducing herself to people that she likes. Candace doesn't understand why they aren't getting along. She doesn't know what Robin's issue is with her, even though she feels like she has a issue with Robin and she has a legitimate reason. Both of y'all trash talked each other. The difference is that in this group, if they don't like what you said, the green-eyed bandits are going to ice you out, and they're going to do so by not talking to you. Karen has already alluded to this. So I think that Candace needs to not focus on that and just focus on the other connections that she has with the other ladies. Apparently, they are making up stuff for this game because so many people are not supposed to be on the court. We then see them playing. The guys leave and go to another court, and they're laughing and they're joking and they're getting along. So what happens later on is irritating to me. Karen begins to do an announcement because they're all sitting to eat, and she's talking about how she's glad everybody came, and that Robin showed up, even though they're not in the best place. And Juan was like, why is it about me? Why is it always about me? I think Karen was trying to say, like, look, if me and Robin are just beginning to mend things and she came here, then you all can mend things too. That would have been a better way to put it. But of course, it wasn't received like that. The men don't want to deal with it. So we see like Eddie and Juan walk off. Ashley then brings up the whole thing that happened with her and Nneka. And Nneka says that the message between them got lost. Ashley talks and says what she did was wrong. And Nneka says that she appreciates it. And I don't understand why it was so easy for Ashley to weasel out of these things, because she did create unnecessary tension between these families. I don't know what the timeline was. I don't know what was said, but it was evident that Nneka has been talking badly about Wendy. Maybe not the way that Ashley presented it, but if she could say what she said to Robin, she did say some things to Ashley. But it's just interesting how easily Ashley was let off the hook. Candace asks, okay, so if that's the case, are you guys good then? They both say that they don't have a problem with one another. We've heard Wendy say it. Nneka says it and Wendy says it. And she's like, why are you saying what I said? Come on now. Like, why is this becoming an issue? They both agree that they don't know each other. So if y'all say you don't know each other, leave it at that. We hear again about the shrine and how she thinks Wendy has a problem with her. If you are really trying to address this issue, if you are really not having an issue with Wendy and you have no problem with her, then why do you feel the need to keep telling everyone about this and then addressing it in front of all these people? Pull Wendy to the side and talk to her about it. Don't do it in front of all these people. Wendy says, I never called her. She says, you keep going back and forth from what was said, if it was a cousin, if it was my mom, whatever. Nneka then says, B, I'm trying to, because Wendy tells her, hurry up and clear it up. And she's like, B, I'm trying to clear it up. And for me, that is where the conversation would have ended. You're not going to call me a B. All of this is unnecessary. Even if the phone call happened as Wendy, even if the phone call happened with Wendy's mother, I don't understand why it's turning into all of this and why it requires all of this. She says, you had your mom call me and it was on Good Friday because Wendy said, I want to see the receipts. But I don't care, even if she did call. Obviously, Wendy doesn't have control over her mother. Look at what her mother has done to her skin. If Wendy had control over her mother, do you not think that Wendy's mother would not do that? And Wendy would be like, Mom, no, don't tear up your skin like that. Okay, so we see Mia and Giselle are chiming in. Wendy said, you came here to attack me, and she did. It's very obvious. It's very obvious even with the things that she was saying, that she practiced what she was going to say to Wendy. You then have Robin calling Ashley over, saying that she told me this already and she's not letting Nneka get everything out. Giselle said that she thinks it's true. Candace says that Wendy isn't responsible for what her mother does and it's not right to talk about her mom this way. I agree. There's a bunch of back and forth, and as I said before, I do not care. They say that y'all can work it out, and Wendy then decides that she is going to make herself look guilty by avoiding everything and saying she wants to work things out with Mia. Now, Wendy, why? The girl disrespects you constantly. Why do you want to work things out with her? She continues to talk about you. She continues to say things to make you a part of her storyline, and yet you want to work things out. Do I think that this was deflection like Robin and some of the other ladies said? No, but I do think that this was avoidance, because I do believe that Wendy saw that this was going to go nowhere. And Robin is one to talk about deflection when everything that people say about Juan is clearly deflected. We see her talking to Mia, and it makes no sense at this point. They talk about how she called her a B, then she said she did, then she said, yeah, I'm sorry, whatever. I don't care about that. Just tell them you didn't want to talk about it anymore, Wendy. Candace says, I too, Nneka, I don't want the Nigerians to be fighting. She brings up this shrine thing again to Candace. So she doesn't want to let it go. She wants to keep talking about it. As all this is going on, Juan runs into the gate, knocks down the water and the beans, and it kind of breaks this up. So I'm going to go, it's done. Karen approaches Juan like, let's go woman to woman. You don't like me. Whatever. They joke around about it. It's no big deal. We then thought that this was all over, but Nneka goes to Mia, even though she told her husband not to say anything to the group about the Facebook thing. She takes it upon herself to tell Mia about Eddie unfriending her husband after the shrine call. And then Mia goes and approaches these men and talks about it, which then causes them to go back and forth. Eddie is stumbling over his words and lying about it, and I feel like it's childish. Say you unfollowed the man. Who cares? How old are we and we're talking about Facebook? I have friends on my old Facebook because it got hacked and I had to create a new one. Facebook people suck because my page is still there, but I blocked the first part. But you have to have a two-factor authentication. And if the person removed my number, how am I going to verify through my phone that it's right? It's been almost 2 years now. But anyways, I started a new Facebook. And my old Facebook, I think it was like from 2003, 2004. I can't remember when. But there were people that I had college courses with that were on that list because I didn't want to give them my number, or people that I just may have had like been in a club with that, you know, we were there. And there are times where you purge. Not saying that that's what was done, but it's just not really that big of a deal. Like Facebook is just that, it's Facebook. Who really cares? Y'all obviously have other ways of interacting with each other. Your wives have each other's number. If this was really that big of an issue, why not call Eddie and say something? All of this is just dumb. This episode got on my nerves, as you can tell by the review. I'm hopefully going to have Married to Medicine to you all today. I got to see what's going on with my car because I'm supposed to be at work right now, but my car isn't working. So there's that. Until next time. Oh, please please put your thoughts down below, and please subscribe if you have not already. I'm on the road to 1,000. I would really like to get to it sooner than later. Until next time.